Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we have Bonnie, the insipid sister of Ruby, who has recently been locked up, for her sins, and we all know what those sins are. But this is Bonnie deciding to cash in on her sister yet again. Don't really care about her sister per se, but she is cashing in on the situation yet again, and it does not paint her in a great light if that's what she was aiming for.
And so I thought I would just sit here and answer this question because I thought it was a really good question. And I do need to preface, I want to just explain the state that my body is in. I made some stories this morning that obviously I got really emotional over. I haven't gone a single day without crying, I don't think. I did go a couple of days when we were camping. That felt really good, but no, I cried when I was camping too. But they're getting less frequent. My cry sessions are getting less frequent and less intense. But I'm sitting here just with my guts constantly feeling like it's funny because I feel like I have to be so filtered in order to say what I'm thinking, but I have no one that I'm answering to. And so at first
Oh, I'm going to have to stop you right there, Bonnie, because you are answering to some people, and it's not necessarily us, or your fans, or your viewers, or whatever. You don't have to answer to anybody, obviously, but you do have your kids to answer to. You have Ruby's kids to answer to. You have your family to answer to. And anything that you do say may be, goodness, yeah, maybe taken down in evidence and given against you. Anyway, right, so yeah, think about what you're going to say before you say it, because it could affect them.
At first, my few videos, the only thing that I was thinking was, if this sentence gets taken out and put in the media, what is that going? I was trying to make sure that each sentence wasn't going to be taken out of context, but I am now to a point where it's okay to say what I'm thinking, because it is going to be taken out of context and you just have to live with that. So
absolutely agree. No matter what you say, how you say it, things will always be taken out of context. Even what I'm saying right now could end up somewhere else, and people will accuse me of whatever they want to do, right? But I have the choice then to either not say what I'm going to say, or to say what I want to say, right? I choose to say it because I have no comeback on me at all. And you, right, you feel that way too, but you want to still say it, even though things could come back on you or your family. You have a family to protect, right? You have your kids to protect. And by saying what you want to say, and risking being exposed for anything or getting hate onto you or anything, that's then risking your family. And I think that you do actually have the choice whether or not to say anything, but you still choose to say something. Anyway, that's my opinion.
For now, I want to answer the question for you. The question is, how did you explain everything to your kids? As you know,
before we go on, right, don't you think it's a little bit odd, at all, that somebody would actually come up with a question? How did you tell your kids? Why is it any of their business? Why would they want to know how you told their children something that was traumatic? Why is that of interest to them? Do you not think about these things in your head, that it's a little bit weird and a little bit inappropriate for people to be asking these sort of questions? And not only that, but you choose to take that question and put it in an entire video and answer it. No.
Ruby's family and my family were very intertwined. I have many kids that are the same age as Ruby's kids, and I was the first sibling to start having kids after Ruby. And so we immediately started raising our kids alongside each other. After Ruby started implementing what she was learning in Connections, her actions naturally bled through her family. And so when the kids would get together and play, they would start correcting my kids, and essentially they were counseling. I'm just listening for the washing machine. Essentially, they were counseling and giving what they had learned in therapy. They were teaching that to my kids, which was odd, and that had caused some friction between the cousins.
Okay, so I really wanted to point this out, this more than any other part of the video. Why did you think it was okay to basically call out Ruby's kids for counseling your kids? Why was that of anybody's business? Why was that something you needed to say? Because right now, I don't know if you know, right? I mean, it may have passed up your attention, but right now, Ruby's kids are going through hell, right? No matter what your kids are going through, Ruby's kids are going through hell. You know, from 10 years of age, 12 years, those two in particular, then you've got 14 and 16-year-olds, they're all going through hell, right? Even the older ones, the ones that have left home, they are also going through hell. And all you've done right now is added to that. You've basically accused them of overstepping boundaries and doing something because they have had this thing, this stupid Connections crap forced on them for so long that they believed it, right? And that was a form of mental torture that they had to go through growing up. And then you've taken that and you said, oh, they tried to put it on my kids then. And why did you think that was an okay thing to say? Why did you think that they needed extra blame on their shoulders? Why did you think that their kids, Ruby's kids, needed this extra burden that you are unleashing on them? It is ridiculous, and there was no need for it whatsoever. We didn't need to know. They didn't need to know that was a thing, right? No. Just no. I'm sorry. You're an absolute moron.
And we had always done these sleepovers. Ruby and I often did kid swapping, and I would take the boys, she would take the girls, or she would take a few kids, I would take a few kids. And I made a video on this about no more sleepovers, but that was very surface level for what was going on. And to be honest, I didn't have a specific reason of saying, oh, well, this happened and this happened, so no more sleepovers. And that was what was the hard part.
Yeah, they did a video a while ago called No More Sleepovers and explaining why. And yeah, she decided to link that in the description box down below, so she could get more views on that video to further exploit the situation. Because why wouldn't you exploit the situation which you find yourself in? Sorry, you don't find yourself in it, do you? Ruby does, and Ruby's kids too. Again, I don't really care about Ruby, but her kids, right? Why exploit that situation? There's enough people talking about this situation. I'm one of them. There are many more. They don't need you. They don't need you. Your kids don't need you to go on camera and be talking all this crap, right? They don't need it. Ruby's kids do not need it. So what, you are here for one reason only. There's no reason for this video whatsoever, none whatsoever, except to get a bit of extra cash because you haven't got anything else to vlog, and you thought, why not cash in a little bit, right?
My kids were getting uncomfortable, and there was nothing specific that had happened other than, we're not having fun anymore. Things are feeling kind of weird, and I was feeling the same way.
So she goes on for about 10 more minutes about why the family and the kids stopped seeing each other, and it turned out at the end of all the story that she actually forgot to answer the actual question, and she had to come back post edit to tell us the end of the story because she's that fucking stupid.
Had got lunch that day together. It was such a beautiful day, and it was the end of the day, and we still had a lot of work left ahead of us, but we were, the kids got home from school, and so we were all standing on the stairs together, and we were like listening to music. We were talking about the kids' day at school. Then my sister Julie called, and I answered. I put her on speaker, and I was like, "Hey Julie, how are you? What's going on?" And immediately I knew something was wrong. And as she was telling me, it was just like, I think we were learning as the conversation went on. So Julie told me, and immediately I was like, "Get Ellie on the phone."
I'm wondering though, Bonnie, did you find out in the same way that everybody else found out, and that was by Shari sharing her Insta post? Was it that way? That's how you knew that all this was going on? Because this is one thing that you haven't actually mentioned, or you don't mention throughout the course of this video, is how you actually found out yourself. Or do you not want to admit that you had no actual inside source because nobody wanted to tell you specifically? Obviously Julie found out first before you did, so wonder how she found out. Anyway, just a thought.
And so we got Ellie on a three-way, and I was like, "Joel, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna take the kids home. Like, you stay here, wrap things up. I'll be like," so it was just, honestly, our whole world just kind of came down tunnel vision. And so me and Julie and Ellie, we stayed on the phone, and we didn't get off the phone. As we were learning more details, we couldn't let each other go. We just stayed on the phone together, I think for hours.
I can actually imagine how this conversation would have gone. It was more like a gossip, right? Did you hear what happened? Did you hear what Ruby did? Did you hear what Jodie did? I wonder how they got arrested. I wonder how they did this and that. You think it was something like that? That's why you couldn't get off the phone for hours. Call me a skeptic, right? I just feel like it was... I have a hard time believing that there was any form of concern there, and just concern really, because you didn't really show too much of that prior to the event
that night. And my kids didn't leave my side, and we came home, and we were I'm getting cold thinking about it. We just couldn't hang up, and we didn't even talk until we knew something more. And when the kids went, we all said a family prayer. I think we prayed together over the phone. That's something that's very common that we've had to do. We did call my parents that night, and that was very difficult. I think we were up all hours of the night. We just couldn't not be on the phone together, even though there was nothing to be said. The next morning, the kids were like, did you hear anything else? They would come home, and I would just update them as I knew things.
So the basic crux of it was that the kids were there with her on the phone at the time she was finding out, so they were finding out at the same time as she was. So she never had to have the sit-down conversation about why Aunt Ruby was, banged up, right? What did Aunt Ruby do? they were finding out at the same time, and that is all this entire video was building up to, essentially. So to save you from watching the rest of it, that's what happened.
And obviously I've kept details away from the kids, things that they don't need to know and things that would just hurt them.
Indeed, Bonnie, indeed. I agree that it's a good idea to protect your children from unnecessary hurt. In fact, I've seen some support in your comments about, people are glad that you protected your children from certain things. However, what they fail to realise, as you do quite clearly, is that you hurt your children on a daily basis by vlogging them, right? You are a family vlogger, you vlog your kids, and that's basically what you do. Do you know what I found out, in fact? Because I've heard quite a few times actually from various different people that you have reined it in vlogging your kids wise, and you don't do what Ruby does on her videos. You don't expose them or film intimate details of their lives, and you don't do that anymore. So that's great, isn't it? But you know what I found just yesterday, and this was completely random. This was before I was going to do this video, and I was browsing YouTube. I was actually searching for a completely different thing, right? Completely different thing. If you've watched my video on my other channel on the Inghams yesterday, I did a video, and in it I included a clip of somebody shaving their legs, right? It's supposed to be Sarah Ingham, and that was the joke, right? You have to get my humor and everything, right? So I had to search on YouTube to see for leg shaving, adult leg shaving, right? And so I typed in the search engine, typed in YouTube, and I scrolled down the results, and lo and behold, what was there, Bonnie? Do you know what was there? Can you hazard a guess what might have been there? That's right, it was the video that you did. What was it entitled? My first time shaving my legs by your then 11-year-old. Do you remember when that happened? Yeah, I didn't think that was still up on your channel, actually. Do you remember that? Have you got any clue about how inappropriate that actually is? And when you say that you no longer, film intimate details of your kids' lives, well, what the hell is that? What exactly is that? That's just wrong on every single level, and I'm surprised it's even still up there. But there you go. Hey ho. On a separate note, on Instagram yesterday, or a couple of days ago, you put this up. Joel convinced me that leaving town for a few days would be good for us. I was super reluctant. So we got in the car and drove. I had zero intentions of filming it. The kids had some feelings about that. I'm pretty sure it's the first time Cody even came close to yelling at me. So at the request of my kids, here you go. A YouTube video on said trip. So yeah, I don't know if you've realised, Bonnie, but your kids don't run your house. Your kids do not run your business. Your kids do not run you. Your kids do not decide whether or not you get to pimp them out. You are the adult. You are the parent. You decide whether or not to pimp your kids out and exploit them, right? So you can't just turn around and say, oh yeah, I was not going to film them, I was not going to exploit them today, but my kids said, yeah, I want you to, Mum, I want you to. And you end up saying, yeah, why not, we'll exploit you today because you want to. Now, if they don't get to say that they want to be exploited, you get to say, we're not going to exploit you today, right? That is your job as a parent. So I found that particularly bad, but this was part of the clip. They went on a road trip on the RV, and yeah, they needed to get away. Obviously, Bonnie is mourning at the moment. So this was the vlog where they went away, and it was called Leaving the Internet Behind, which was so ironic since they were filming for the internet, yet leaving it behind, so it doesn't really make an awful lot of sense. Now, speaking of not making sense, Bonnie must be one of a huge line of family vloggers or influencers who just, they have nothing about them, that they are just so thick that all they can do is pimp out their kids. Because listen to this.
Asked me how much I wanted to go on an RV trip. 10 being the least. 10 out of 10 did not want to come on an RV trip. Asked me on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being no, how much I wanted to pull a second rig, pull the four-wheelers with the Suburban while Joel towed the RV. 100. I 100% did not feel like I was physically or mentally able to drive the trailer separately. Now that we've been here for a few days, on a scale 1 to 10, ask me if I'm happy we came. 100.
So the first question, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the lowest, how happy are you? 10. On the second question, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst, what would you like to be? And what are you? 100. I am that, yeah. So on the scale of 1 to 10, on the last question, on the same levels, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you? I'm 100, which means that she is unhappy, and yet on her little head, 100 means it's good. And yet the previous two questions, 100 would have been bad. I'm saying, okay, I get it. Most people won't even care. Most people probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But I know what I'm talking about, and it makes her sound stupid. Trust me.
Joel wanted to come because I think Joel's spirits needed this just as much as anybody else's. In so many ways, it makes me feel so guilty because I wish all my siblings could get away. I wish.
Really? Did anybody see that little side eye? She's referring obviously to her sibling who cannot get away, and that is Ruby, obviously. I'm not quite sure what to make of that at all, but I just found it a little bit bitchy, but a little bit, I don't know. What do you think?
I wish all my siblings could get away.
Yeah, I'm sure. But she ended this off with a very bitchy remark. In my opinion, this was totally uncalled for. And why do they need to do this? Why do they feel the need to do this? Family vloggers or just any influencers who are having a hard time, they just have a sly dig at people.
That Julie and Ellie and Bo and my parents, they need a little time away. Everyone needs a little time away, so I feel guilty that I'm taking that time away. And then also, I love showing my kids a good time, especially when they're sad, but I wish I could bring all kids with me. I wish all of the kids got to enjoy this. And my hope and desire is that will happen one day. There is hope that one day everyone involved, if you're not an idiot, you know what I'm saying, that one day things can be normal and fun again.
If you're not an idiot, you know what I'm saying. Now, she is addressing her fans, her audience, her supporters, and she's saying to them, if you're not an idiot, you know what I'm saying. Now, that's a horrible way to be addressing supporters of hers, because not many other people other than her supporters are actually watching this video, because it's just a general vlog, and she is addressing them like that. I find that quite disrespectful, in my opinion. So what do you think? Do you think that she's a disrespectful moron? That's what my opinion is anyway. So until next time, please give this video a massive thumbs up, comment all your thoughts about this down below, and subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. Have a lovely day, take care of yourselves, and bye bye.